Welcome to After School with Mr. Van Huss. I'm here with two old friends of mine, Eric and Lindsay Heatherly, also known as American Love Affair. What's
Hi
going on,
guys.
guys?
Good to see you, Drew.
Hi
Oh,
Drew.
it's so good to see you guys. You all,
I'm,
we were just talking about this, but y'all have been so busy.
We've
oh
been
my
tearing it
gosh.
up. It's been a really great year for us creatively.
Yeah, so we just released our new record, The American Love Affair Heart Made for Motels. And we started a new show in Branson, Missouri called Hits on Route 66. So we've been really busy creating and producing all of that as well.
And we moved to
And we
Route
moved.
66 in Springfield, Missouri.
Very cool. Do you guys like it out there?
We're loving it. You know how we're so into vintage and everything. And when we were in Gallatin, where we met you, we had the vintage store. So we just kind of packed all that stuff up in three 26-foot trucks and moved it up here right on Route 66. So we're still trading, selling, having fun. We jump on the motorbike and go look at old artifacts and old diners and motels. It's just a
Oh, it's
blast.
amazing. And from like our tree line of our house, you can actually see like an old gas station sign that's patinaed and old, like from the 40s. It's
That's
just a
super
really cool
cool.
place to live.
That's just the perfect environment for you guys to be in.
I know you would love it. You're gonna have to come visit us.
I
Totally.
would love to sometime. You guys didn't have any bad weather or anything yesterday, did you?
It came within about an hour of us, and we really got lucky because there was like golf ball size hell last night here.
Actually, I got
Okay.
stuck in hell coming from the
Ugh.
grocery store, so it was pretty bad. But we
We
got
my
lucky.
my phone went crazy about 2:30 in the morning and we had tornado warnings and I think it was around Goodlettsville, but by the time it got up to us, it kind of like broke up and it wasn't real bad or anything, but it was just like, oh my gosh, it's gonna be a long day.
I tell you,
Oh
and
man.
Gallatin and Hendersonville in the last 5 years, you guys have been hit hard.
I know. It's kind of scary. We ended up, my wife and I woke our kids up at like 2:45 in the morning and went to like inside bathroom like with interior
Oh,
walls and stuff because they started naming station camp and Gallatin High School and it was like okay we gotta we gotta get here just in case, but
That's
we
too
were
close for
good,
comfort.
so
right. That's scary.
thankful you guys were too, but that's the game we play in the spring.
It is.
That's the
Yeah.
way it is.
It is, my friend.
Well, thank you guys for joining me. I wanted to ask, I do this show and I do it for my students and try to put it out there just to talk to people that have had success in doing things that they love. And I just wanted to hear a little bit of your all story. If you could start out, just kind of tell me what inspired you to do what you do. What made you want to get into music and things like that?
Well, Lindsay and I met almost 10 years ago now, going on what, 8 years?
Yeah, 8 years.
So we actually met on a music show and we were on the same bill and met each other. And then about 6 months after that, we started dating and we both obviously write, record, produce music. So we're like, if we're going to be together and have a shot at making anything out of this, we're going to have to figure out a way to do it together.
Hmm.
Because prior to meeting, of course, I had my career in the rockabilly country uh, genre, and Lindsay had a management deal and record deals and stuff with another duo she was in. And we had separate careers going in opposite directions. And so for our marriage and our mentality, really, we combined everything and just said, let's just do everything together 100% 24/7.
Yeah, we were so sick of doing shows and calling each other on our break, worlds apart. And we were like, we just can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
And we realized that our very first show that we ever did together, we've never sang, never played together. And we had such good musical chemistry that we were
Mhm.
able to just jump on stage and jump on our guitars and play 4 hours worth of music. So
And we can write songs in 15
yeah,
minutes.
we just have amazing musical chemistry and we wanted to do it together. But before that, like, I think we were just born with that love of music. I mean, I grew up in a Pentecostal church and I was always singing on Sundays with my family. And my mom and dad, they're very musically talented as well. And your parents are talented
Yeah, we had
musically.
Sunday afternoon jams after church at my house in Chattanooga, Tennessee, East Brainerd, actually. And my aunt would be on the upright piano. My dad would be banging out three chords on the guitar, and they were singing gospel songs. And I would just be throwing on a old Univox amp and a cheap, crappy Japan-made guitar, and try to figure my way out through these songs and try to pluck some lead guitars, solos out of it. And then I got into high school and stuff, started doing every talent show, every grocery store grand opening, every
Me
car
too.
lot, VFW, Legions,
Anywhere where you could
anywhere.
showcase.
Yeah,
Yeah.
playing for free, not making a dime really, mowing yards and landscaping and painting apartments and duplexes, anything to make a living so that at night and Friday and Saturday we could go out and do this, what we were passionate about. It's never about the making the living or money. It was more about that release.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah,
and
that was me too.
then it turned into careers,
Yeah.
which that's where the hard part comes in because you know that old cliche, if you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life. Not true. we work we work 25 hours a day, 8 days a week.
Yeah, it is a sacrifice, but that
Mhm.
sacrifice comes with a reward. I mean, you're able to do what you are born to do. And
Yeah.
that's that's like our dream is to be able to do this for a living.
And if we had any advice for your guys and girls out there, it's definitely find out what you're passionate about first.
Yeah.
Even if you have to go down all these side roads and plan Bs and you know go to college and get 2 years of something just to just to see where you land because it all matters and it's all valuable. Even if you go, get a degree in something that ends up not being where you land in life, you're going to use that somewhere.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's
That,
something my students have heard a lot because y'all know my career started right after college at the Country Music Association. And I didn't figure out I wanted to be a teacher until I was like 30. And now I'm
Wow.
here teaching US history and teaching American history of rock and soul and have my whole music history class and I'm loving it every day.
right.
I know the first time I know, Eric, I've followed you for a long time because I remember when I first saw a video on CMT for Flowers on the Wall, and I was like, this guy's incredible because I was always into that kind of rockabilly vibe and some of that. And I think we've talked about this before, but I think I first saw you live. I think it was at Starwood Amphitheater just
Oh,
outside Nashville, and you were playing with Dwight Yoakam and Pam
yeah.
Tillis, and I think Sons of the Desert, because you
Oh,
guys were
that's a
touring
good bill.
together. Oh
Yeah.
my goodness, it was an amazing
I
concert from
bet.
start to finish. So
That
it
was a
was great.
blast.
And I had followed you, and then Lindsay, I met you when you guys were here in Gallatin, and have followed your career. And I'm so happy to see you guys being successful and doing what you love, and it's a lot of fun to watch.
Thank
Thank
you
you,
so
Andrew,
much.
too. You've been trying to do this with us, this live stream deal here for quite a long time, but it just goes to show you that how long it takes to get things off the ground because we've
Mhm.
recorded a couple of records and probably 50 songs, and now we're just now getting a single out in a video,
Yeah.
and it's starting to gain traction. And especially in Europe, you're going to really start seeing it catch fire there.
Hmm.
But when
Yeah.
we talked to you, we wanted to have something to talk about.
Yeah,
Yes.
You
it's
know,
been a long and hard 6 years. I mean, we had management and
changes
like he said, we recorded a 17 song album, Neon Neverland.
never came out.
It never came out. And, with pursuing your dream, advice is you're always going to have bumps in the road and you have to persevere. And we feel like we've finally got to that point where we've persevered and gotten something that's really clicking with the audience. And so we're really excited about this new album.
And the other thing is that we pretty much took things in our own hands, Drew. We got told no so many times by labels and managers and publishers, and you're too this, you're too that, too rock, too country, too old, too young.
Take your cowboy hat off.
Yeah, take your guitar off. Too many guitar solos. Blah blah blah. I mean, they make you question your mere existence in
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
You know, so you have to be very very headstrong and calloused to a certain degree, but still empathetic.
Well,
towards the thing.
also just confident in what you do. Like
Mhm.
Yeah.
that's the most important part.
And what we always have had and what we still do is we know who we are, we know what we love,
Mhm.
and we don't just fall for the first deal that comes across the table, you know?
And that's what I love about you guys. And that's honestly why I have such great respect for you guys, is because you've stayed true to yourself. You've worked your butts off to get where you are, and it's paid off. And if my students that watch this don't learn anything else from it, I hope they learn about that perseverance. The fact that,
Yeah.
just because you get told no or you get told one thing, don't give up. You got to just keep pushing and keep pushing.
Absolutely.
Right.
And it's really amazing the blessings that God has bestowed on us since we got married. And we when we first met uh, separately, we weren't in the best place in life, creatively or financially.
Yeah.
And in this last 10 years, we're completely 100% debt free. We work hard, one gig at a time, and we get something or pay it off or whatever. Uh, and that's just kind of how we try to live our lives, just that blue collar mentality of work, 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 and then
Mhm.
kind of sit back and leave the rest up to the big man upstairs to like work out the logistics of things you can't control.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So there's one thing I want to ask, and I always ask, especially any musician I get to talk to, and I can probably guess this from listening to your all's music and everything, but who are some of your heroes? Like who did you look to? Who did you want to be like? Who did you want to emulate? Like kind of coming
Oh,
up
I
or
don't
now
know.
either
Look,
one.
oh, I have no idea. Look at her and make a guess.
I love, I listened to Dolly Parton, Nancy Sinatra. Um, oh God, Dixie Chicks. I used to love them in the '90s. They were a huge influence on my career. Shania Twain, like anything from the '60s to the '90s was my biggest influence. And then you have like this '40s, '50s background, so it's like a mishmash of all of those eras combined.
For both of us, it's more about artists that are self-contained, not so much artists that just kind of stand there with a microphone, you know. We
Mhm.
like musicians and writers and um, like the consummate entertainers, guitar slingers, and for me, of course, it was Stevie Ray and Dwayne
Mhm.
Eddy and Link Ray and Chet Atkins, guitar players, and
Mhm.
all the Ventures surf stuff. I mean, it varies. It's just all over the map. But musically, we like to be challenged and we like to listen to stuff that's interesting. We're just not into the three chord drum loopy stuff, you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
My dad raised me on so much Dwayne Eddy and Ventures.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
still have a stack that high of Ventures records that were my dad's, that were like his original like LPs and stuff.
Hey, and
And
don't you bring those records to class too?
absolutely, I
That's what
bought a
That is
record player
awesome.
for my classroom so I could play a lot of that stuff and they could hear what it's supposed to sound like.
That's amazing.
I love it.
Yep, but I've got
Hey,
a bunch of those, and
you got to
Lindsay, I
add
know
one to
I
your
hear.
collection.
Oh yeah.
Oh, nice.
You got to add one to your collection, my
I
friend.
absolutely need to add one of those to my collection. When we get done here, I'm gonna like give you my like card so you can charge me and mail me one.
Hey,
That's the single, but we're gonna have vinyl, like the full LP soon. That's
Very
it.
cool.
and it's no charge for our good old friend
No
Drew.
way.
We've
I
known you
greatly
for a
appreciate it.
decade now.
I definitely have to get a copy of it and make sure I can play that for my classes and things like that. Lindsay, I was going to say I definitely hear that like Dolly Parton influence in your voice too.
Oh yeah.
I know listening to the new album, I thought I heard some like Patsy Cline in there a little bit also,
Ooh.
like just some
Hey,
of that old like classic sound.
she's another
Um,
influence too. I love Patsy Cline. Oh my goodness, she's just amazing.
So your all's album just came out this past Friday or past Saturday for Record
Yes,
Store Day, wasn't it?
Right.
It's called Heart Made for Motels. I've
yes.
listened to it a couple of times. Your single is Maybe Baby, which is a great tune, very, very catchy.
Thank
Thank
There's
you.
one song on there I got to ask you about because it caught my attention immediately. Memphis Wrestler. Okay,
you.
like you're talking to a guy who's got a Macho Man Randy Savage poster in his
Oh
classroom,
yes,
so
yes.
I
obviously
think
that jumped out to me and stuff. But what a cool original song.
Thank you.
I think we laughed that entire writing session, like looking up all the wrestling move names and
Yeah, there's some crazy, wacky stuff we all grew up on. And, I had a little cousin growing up and he worshiped wrestlers and
Hmm.
he knew them all. And he had all the action figures and he went to all the flea markets and collected all the cards and all that, all the stuff that went with it. And it was so nostalgic for me thinking about all that growing up. And then uh, Lindsay, uh, she's like, "Are you sure that's a term?" I'm like, "I'm serious. Let's look this up and let's write a song about it. It's nuts."
Well,
And
you
then,
hit all those names from the old like Memphis territory, getting like,
yes,
the Jarretts in there and getting Jerry the King Lawler, and you had the
yeah.
whole list. I was impressed.
Hey, and plus he's mean. He's meaner than a Memphis wrestler.
that's right. We have UFC fights at home.
So
Hey,
funny.
and speaking of Hendersonville and Jeff Jarrett, as he's heard the song and loves it, and he's he's told us he's interested in possibly making a cameo if we do a video for that song.
Oh,
And
that's
that's going
awesome.
to be hilarious.
Yeah.
It would be so great. Jeff and I, he actually did the show a couple of years ago and talked to me for a little
Oh,
bit because we cross paths ever so often. So that's very, very cool. So
Hey,
I hope he's able to
if
do
you
it. He's a
talk
good
to him,
dude.
bring that up and tell him you've heard the song and everything.
I certainly will. I'll tell him he's got to do that because that'd be a great cameo.
Oh, it'd be
He'd be the
so much
perfect
fun.
guy to get involved with that.
oh, for sure.
Now, your show that you're doing in Branson, your hits on Route 66, what's it all about? Like, what kind of music do you play in that show, and how often are you doing it, and that kind of thing?
Oh,
Oh
it's
my
pretty
goodness.
expansive. Yeah, you
It
want to
is.
start it?
Well, it's like mini documentaries. So it takes you all the way from the 1920s, like the Great Depression, all the way to like women's roles and during the war, civil rights, 50s, 60s, all the way to the centennial, which is being celebrated this weekend. But they're many documentaries, and then you have 100 years of music in between with all the costume changes, and so it's really like a musical and historical road trip. It's really cool.
And for 90 minutes, Drew, the action never stops. So behind us, we have gigantic screens. There's
Mhm.
three of them with, smoke and lights and lasers and all that. And it feels very interactive because we leave the stage, let the documentary segment play for 5 or 6 minutes, and then we come out and play for 10 or 15 minutes and only do songs from each of those decades as the time progresses. So musically, we're very, very challenged because we're starting, like she said, in the 20s in Chicago doing blues,
Mhm.
jazz, Etta James and
Yeah.
Lightning Hopkins and uh, Sweet Home Chicago and all that stuff. And then we get up into the rockabilly era, which is your vibe. We
Mhm.
do all the cool 50s stuff, Johnny Be Good, and break out the Gretsch guitars. 60s, we go to a Vegas vibe with Sinatra and Nancy. And
Neon signs behind us.
yeah. And then it goes into 70s rock and roll with all the biker and the trucker stuff going up and down Route 66. And it really is we're really proud of it because it's a well-rounded historical, educational, and
Mhm.
hopefully very entertaining concept that we don't think has ever been done. And we're getting some really good reviews so far.
And
That's excellent.
it's been a journey. Like the past 4 months, like we couldn't find a videographer to do the work, so we're like, we're gonna do it ourselves. So we sat down during the off season, just sat on our couch and edited the whole thing and just put it all together, and we're so proud of it. And it is musically challenging because it's just three people on stage giving it all they have, and then we have wardrobe changes in between every documentary, and it's a good workout.
And people are telling us they really feel transcended from each era. They
Mhm.
really feel like they're at a jazz club speakeasy in 1920 when we
Mhm.
start the show. And then when
Yeah.
we get into the 80s and 90s, we go grunge and
Mhm.
it's fun, man.
That's incredible. I'm sitting here thinking now, like, how can I get a field trip out to Branson for my
You
history of
have,
music class to see the show?
You need
yes,
to bring a
please do.
busload.
That would
Oh
be,
man, it'd be awesome.
and they'll learn everything about Route 66. I mean, there's so much that we learned just by
Research.
research that there's so much information on it that a lot of people don't even know. So it's really cool.
That's incredible. Well, I can't thank you guys enough for taking a few minutes to talk to me. And it's great seeing you guys. I know our
You
paths will probably
too.
cross somewhere down the road, but I greatly appreciate your time and just, giving some words of advice and some information to my students and everybody watching.
Well, listen, Drew, we really respect you, man, and um, we've just got a lot of respect for the things you do for your school, for your students. It's not every day that you get a teacher that really takes a concerted effort into exposing kids to things that aren't the norm, like,
Yeah,
social media and online stuff. You're actually getting people to hold vinyl, spin the turntables,
it's amazing.
learn about history, learn about things that they wouldn't normally be exposed to. And man, that's very important in this day and age. And thank you for all
Yeah.
you do, man.
Thank
Well, my,
you.
my friends, I greatly appreciate that so much. And it was great talking to you guys, great catching up. I'm going to figure out some way to get to Branson here very soon
Let's do
because I want to
it.
see that show really bad.
Hey, we need a favor from you.
All right, what you got?
Go hug my mama over in Hendersonville. We miss her. And my sister and our whole family, Tia and Lance.
Yes.
Uh,
Excellent.
Go hug them for us because we haven't been home in probably almost, well, since Thanksgiving,
Since
I guess.
Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Christmas.
And we've just
You-
been hard at it. But they're all going to make
mm,
the trek up here pretty soon. I hope to see the show. So,
Very cool. You can send me their addresses. They'll have this like strange guy just showing up at their house.
Oh
I
yeah,
owe you
just give
guys
it a
this.
hug.
hey, you're famous up there. They'll know who you are.
Well, guys, it was so good seeing you, and thank you so much for staying after school with Mr. Van Huss.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you, Drew. Bye, guys.